The MOOC has been developed, and many thanks especially goes to Jos Geesken of CISA Dorp Group, and also to my colleagues of the consortium of Platform Uptake, so that they provided with all the information. The MOOC consists of four chapters, and I would like to have your comments after each chapter so that we can discuss it while we are going. The chapters are in introduction and what are open platforms explained, and then what can open platforms mean for your organization, and then how to select a technology and an open platform for your organization. That is the main content of the massive online course. Sorry. The massive the platform uptake massive open course is especially designed for workers from healthcare organizations and public authorities, as Alexander already explained. The course is designed for as well for basic and advanced learners. So there is no distinction between both groups. And we are kindly invite the people who already knows a lot to switch easily to the pages to the next, to go to the next. And we hope to welcome them, everyone. This is the training. And the aim is for the MOOC is to equip learners with the knowledge to find, select, and use open platforms for their own or their organizational benefits. And it is to raise the awareness of the adoption of open platforms in Europe. And after going to the end of this MOOC, then learners will receive a certificate. There's not only this MOOC is developed, also two tutorials are being constructed to inform the platform owners and ICT developers more about the benchmark tool that is available, and that will become available on the information hub of the Platform Uptake project. As I said, the learning goal is this to equip the learner with the knowledge, skills, and competencies to find, use, and select open platforms. We estimate that for basic learners, this MOOC will contain about 4 hours of learning. That is including reading, rehearsing, and also follow the links and further reading and do also the exercises. And for advanced learners, we expect that it will contain about 2 hours of learning. We will be very pleased if you can share what your impression is after this when this course is ready, so that we can maybe adapt this number of volume of learning. The learning outcomes are specified here again, and then we go to chapter 2. And are there any comments about chapter 1? The learning goals, or no? Then I continue. The first is what are open platforms? I think it's when we started this project, I was also I'm a political scientist, and I was thinking, okay, what is an open platform, and what is it even a platform? So I think, okay, the best known open platforms are these from the iOS and the Android, made by Apple and Google. So that is what we explain here, so that the learners also know what is an online platform. Then we focus on the principles that are to follow for an open platform, and that these principles are: is it open source? Can everyone enter who wants to work on it? Is it open standards? Are the standards where the platform is created, are they shared and accessible for everyone? Is there a kind of a federal construction? Is it made of different modules? Another principles are that it's shared common information models provides, vendor and technology neutral is, so that the device and the platform are not necessary one combination, but can be provided separately, and also that the platform supports open data. Further principles are that it provides open APIs, application information openness, and open usage, adaptability, and open adaptation. These are the 9 principles that we think is important for what open platforms are. Since several decades, the European Union supports the development of European open platforms. That has already been a lot of funding has been gone to there, and the main goals of the European Commission is that it gives a boost to European industry, support national healthcare systems, and also to provide an open European answer to tech giants, as we know from the United States and from China, for instance. And in the following pages, the learner can learn to see some one of the latest EU-funded platforms that we collected. Here, people can read some small introduction and go to the websites of these platforms: IOTIS, Universal, OneSafe, Tensinact, and Fireware, EcoSmart, REACH 2020, and UNCAP. Besides the EU-funded platforms, there are also commercially developed platforms, or in another sense, also in other projects, and that is more commercially exploited. We have not examined if these platforms are fully open. They claim that they are open, and we assume that they are, so we took them in the list. But of course, there is can be lots of discussion. But we think that from our project perspective, we don't judge if someone is open, but we only guide people to learn how to value its openness. We identified, for instance, IQ Messenger and Open Remote and Open Care Connect, and people can learn and see more about these platforms. Mibida, Vidom, Oscar Senior, ASCOM, and the Tarim platform, and 2PCS. These are all examples that learners can visit and examine for themselves. Besides open platforms, there are sometimes also fully closed platforms, and we found one example that is not specific for the active and healthy aging field, but that is, for instance, the Bosch Smart Home. And the Bosch Smart Home platform that uses specialized hardware when it's installed in the homes, and it also has restricted content and outside applications. Everything is fit to the system, and it also uses the vendor login so that you are only admitted to the platform, and that is it. Other providers of ICT services and products are not welcome to interfere on the platform. But in this course, we mainly focus on open platforms. Then we have an exercise for the learners so that they can check that they visit the online platforms that we have presented here, and that they check the functionalities, and that they also check the domain where they are active in. Is the domain coherent with what people are looking for, and how is it attractive, and also how do you think of the openness of the platform? And now we have an exercise for you to do yourself, and that is that we choose the characteristics that are applicable to an open platform. Alexander, can you launch the poll?
Unfortunately, I cannot launch it because you have control of the presentation. Let me just give up the control. Now I'm going to share the poll with our participants.
Here it is.
Let's wait 10 more seconds so the rest of the participants can have time to answer the question. All right, I'm gonna end the poll now. Or wait, there are a few more answers provided.
Good, are we? You can end it now.
All right, I'm gonna end it now. We will share the results with everyone. Okay, and I'm gonna stop sharing.
Thank you.
Okay.
The right answers are these. And I saw that indeed some of you also filled in open access, but open access is really something else than an open platform. This is the end of chapter 2. Are there any comments on chapter 2? No. Then we continue to chapter 3. What is next? People can start to click further or restart the learning. Now we go to chapter 3, and that is to see what the practices you can have for the open platforms in your organization. You can see what the role of technology in open platforms in active and healthy aging and active assisted living domain is, and also the potential usage and benefits of it. At first, we asked our learners to do an exercise that is to step in the role of a technology detective, especially for people who are not so familiar with technology, but also to detect which technologies is used in the organization or at home and or outdoors, and see what you can identify. And then you already learned that everywhere where you look, that is lots of information and communication and technology is available everywhere. So that is just to have people on the mindset of there. And then we focus on the open platforms in your organization. And that is that the learners will learn which applications are available there. And we just go through it. This is just examples, for instance, of communication. You can use technology for communication, for face-to-face meetings, or send online meetings, or exchange information. You can use technology for alarms, against fire, burglaries, body temperature, heart monitoring, of course. You can use technology to have digital health records or e-health records that is also available so that data is available on the treatments and therapies or allergies of people, and also defines who has access to it. You can use the technology to create a so-called smart home that can be have functionalities of comfort, but also of safety, or also for e-health connections. Social communication is also very important, social participation. You can use technology for administrative support. For instance, to have census that is available, and digital activities reports. And you have technology in different kinds of devices, such as smartphones, laptops, computers, and tablets. These are just examples and not complete. This is the features that you will brought together with using technology and an open platform or a closed platform. And now in the following slides, the learner will learn about more the different good practices that we already assembled during the project. We had some interviews with some, mainly with ICT managers from different organizations, and we will enable these videos, there's short videos created of, and we will enable these videos for the learners so that they can learn and watch. And we also have collected and more written out in examples, and which we will publish on the Information Hub and directly link to, so that people can also read more about the application of open platforms in healthcare organizations that is available. And here we have 4 examples, mainly from the Netherlands, but also from some other countries. So if you have some examples of other countries, we are very pleased to learn about them. And so please contact me so that we can also include this good practice on the Information Hub. The Swiss example and an example from Belgium. And now we have another short, there's an exercise for the learner, and we have a short poll for you. And this is, does your organization use an open online platform? And is this platform an open platform? Please go here, fill in.
All right, we wait 10 more seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna end the poll now, and we'll share the results with everyone.
Yeah, online platforms already in the room, and 6 open platforms, 7 closed, and 3 don't know. Really good.
It will be also really interesting for us to find out which these platforms are, so we can further get in touch and engage with the providers. But that will come after the.
And maybe they can write it in the chat.
That's also a very nice idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna stop the sharing now.
This was the end of chapter 3. Are there any comments on chapter 3? I see the comments in the chat, Alexander. Is that?
I'm taking care of them.
Perfect. Are there any comments on chapter 3 that you would like to share?
I'm just asking myself, maybe I'm somewhere between the chapter 2 and 3. Isn't it somehow a conflict? I'm coming from development technology,
yeah,
technological background. A bit of, for me, a confusion. It's open access, open source, but not open access. How is this? It's not a conflict. You can participate in and have the open source.
Yes, open source is available. but that is open source is where developers all can work on, because the source codes are open for everyone to share. And open access is mainly meant for journals that you can easily read without limitation, without payments, the open access journal. That was but it was not from the 9 principles that we identified from open platforms.
And also, if you presented data like the records of the patients and the persons, then somewhere the open source should be a little not so open, because the access to the data should not be
correct. Yeah, that's indeed, that is also a very important issue that you bring on, which is the privacy, because the open platform providers should have a very good data management plan, because and not only for the platform itself, but also for the solutions that are running on the platform. Because it's one of the main things is that to ask people to share their information is that it's built on trust. And if an open platform or the ICT solutions that are available break this trust, then people won't use technology anymore, because this is not. So this is really important that this is very well taken care of. Yeah. So with open standards, open source doesn't mean that someone can enter all the data that is available there, because should be very secure.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes, sure. Yeah. Any other comments that we? Right, we go to chapter 4, the final chapter. And in this chapter, that is concerning the selection of technology and an open platform. I made a combination because I think that not only to select an open platform, but because many organizations need technology, and can also include the open platform where this technology is running on. So that to have it a broader view on it, I included in the technology and open platform in this course, so that we also have addressed people who only are interested in technology take up. But I think it's also important that we combine both needs. The chapter will start with a video of Jos Geesken. He is from the ICT manager of the CISA Dorp group in the Netherlands, and he made a procurement of a new platform system for their organization. And they made he has a short video in which he explains that they made a customer journey to explore what they really want, and that they invited 30 organizations to provide them with the best solutions that they could have. And finally, they chose for IQ Messenger as their favorite platform. But that is what he explains in the video, and we will link it on the information hub so that it becomes available too. To make the selection of technology and open platforms, there is a 6-step action plan provided developed in the Netherlands by the AFEdemy, Dorp, and Willeke. Willeke is a research organization in the Netherlands, and we use mainly these steps to identify, to clarify which steps are essential to take if you select technology. But the first step before you start is to create a project team, so that it's very advisable to have a project team that is very multidisciplinary and diverse, that you include customers, but also different kinds of workers from the organizations and also the board of directors, because it's also very important to have it included. Then the first step of the selection of technology and open platforms is to define the expected outcomes. And there you need especially the multidisciplinary team to define what are the, for instance, the patients, what do they want, what are the caregivers, what do they want, and what is the board of directors, so that everyone and all bring this together, this picture of what you want, what you expect from technology to have, or not only from a technology, but what you expect from your organization to have. So that is so that you further can define. Then the second step is that you create an overview of what is already there, so that you go search the internet and speak with colleagues, etc., and that you identify which technologies are already available. And then, based on the selection of what you want as outcome and what you want to have, what is already there, then you lay both lists together, and then you define what you really want and need. It's best to use therefore the Moscow model, that is the must-haves, the should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. So that you define, okay, now then you shorten your long list to a little, so that you know what you really find important. This exercise is based on technology, but the same you do for an online platform. What is do you want to have a vendor lock-in or open APIs, flexibility? Does the platform need to generate costs and benefits, or does it make to have analysis? So that is also very important to review what the online platform should bring. And after this first selection, you also search the online platforms, which platforms are available, and which one do you think is attractive, and who is meeting the needs that you define. I have repeated here the ones that we have presented earlier, but there's also other platforms available, of course, that we can use. Then we go to step 4. That is find the additional information and review. So you have your list of what you want, and you have the list of what is available, and also you know what you really would like to have, or need to have, and then you find additional information. For instance, on the what is the search on what is the flexibility of the technology that you find, of what is is it a medical device, or is it, what is the ownership, the purchase possibilities, etc. So that you find narrow down the focus. This is the same exercise you do for the open platforms, and also review on that. And then, if you have, then you are able to make a selection, and I don't know how long the selection is. You can have 5 favorites, or you have 10 or 20. You invite those providers and from technology and open platforms, and you ask them to demonstrate what they are delivering, but especially also that what they are delivering, and also ask the questions that what you want to know. Is it do they offer the flexibility or adaptability what you or the organization wants? Does our organization want to become the owner of the technology and or the platform and being accountable? Does your organization wants to do this maintenance? And these are all these questions that you have ask yourself, and and you compare what the providers offer. And then at last, you make the final selection. The one that is, I think, for cost benefit, but also the organization that you trust most, or that you think, okay, this offers the best flexibility that I want. And there you make the final choice with the project team. So also this multidisciplinary view on the final choice. And then you make the agreement on the partnership. What is the ownership, and all these different issues that you make. And then you define the agreements and create the, and if you have done this selection, then you create an implementation plan to include the open platform and technologies into your organization. And don't forget the implementation, because that is really important. This is just the selection. Now we have another exercise for you. And we launch the final poll. And the question is, what is the first step that you should make to select technology and an open platform?
I suggest we wait a little bit because this question requires a bit recalling of the data.
I think people stopped selecting. Oh, this one. You can end the poll.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll now and share the results with everyone.
We have a different view on it.
I will stop sharing.
Yes. According to the scheme that we presented, then it's, you should start with the expected outcomes of technology. That should be the start of this selection process. But that is for what we find is important. We have come to the end of chapter 4. Are there any comments on chapter 4? And if the learners has reached the final page, then they can fill in their details and to get a certificate. The certificate will be automatically generated in the system also after the project has ended, so that we can, I think for 5 years, the MOOC remains available for everyone who wants to learn how to choose, how to find, select and use open platforms and technology in your organization. And I hope it meets your expectations. And now you can take over, Alexander.
Right, thank you very much, Willeke, for this really nice presentation of our drafted MOOC. We will be more than happy if from the audience there's some comments regarding the content, the provided information. We're really interested to know if the provided information is coherent and easy to grasp, if there are any design improvements needed, because as Willeke already mentioned, we will upload the MOOC in the next weeks on the hub and provide it to healthcare organizations, policymakers. So we need to make sure that the MOOC is clearly understandable and provides the information which is created for. So I will mention just a couple of general things before we close down today's webinar. Platform Uptake project organizes the first matchmaking event on the 11th of January to give providers of open platforms in the active and healthy aging and urban assisted living domains, developers of technology for active and healthy aging, care organizations and policymakers the opportunity to realize collaboration with their counterparts and benefit from the knowledge exchange. Interested organizations are kindly invited to submit their pitch decks on the hub. So this event will be really interesting, and we kindly invite you as our today's webinar participants to join us because there will be many organizations from across Europe. Once again, on behalf of our project and our host Willeke, I would like to thank you for your participation in today's webinar. Don't forget to register for our next event in January. And if you have questions, do not hesitate to contact us anytime via one of our communication channels, which are presented here on these slides. Yeah. Before we close down the webinar, I would like to go quickly to the questions in the chat option. I think we answered most of them. If there are any questions we haven't answered yet, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask us this question. The certificates will be provided once the MOOC is completed. We will seek to to automatize this process, so it will be also easy for you to download or receive the certificate.
No further comments, please. Now you can.
I have perhaps a small comment from Belgium, Stefan Danschutter. So I recently followed a seminar in France where they participated in Active Age, I think, and I had the impression that you really have to have a lot of partners involved to make it successful. You have to have governments, you have to have policy regulations, and also people. That's a bit the tricky thing with platforms. I think that it's something that you can't fix as an organization on yourself. I don't know what you, because that was also a bit my question. How is Active Age adopted by organizations and because a company on itself can't use it, I think.
You mean this MOOC, Stefan?
MOOC, no. Just the usage of such a platform.
Ah, I see. Yeah. Perhaps one of the colleagues can answer this because
I can say something. It's based on just few sentences based on the information which we have collected during all these consultations and webinars we participated in or organized. It seems that open platforms are indeed on the market, but best practices of open platforms implementation are to be found on a rather regional or local level, where the company which maintains the open platform knows its customers well, is in touch with the customers with the management staff of the care organizations, knows really well their needs, etc. So that this is also one of the obstacles during the collection of all this needed information to get as much as best practice as possible, so we can have a really good picture of what is going on in the field. But yes, there are some best practices, but like I said, on a rather regional, local level.
Yeah, I agree. And then to find out what they are exactly doing is not so easy. It's often not so easy. But yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I see also a comment in the chat that we should discuss, because for the selection of the technology and platform, there was lots of people were also having the selection of first define the outcomes and also make an overview of the technologies. Is that the people who choose for make an overview of technologies? Is that can they explain why they may start with the overview of the technology first before you start with the defining of the outcomes? No? No problem, because I was curious, because sometimes is it wise to start with defining what is already there, or is it wise to start with what you would need or want or expect from technology? Javier? Oh.
Jay, if I may say something, because I was actually also struggling in my decision between the both options, and then I was thinking, well, if I look first at technology, then this will solve one problem of mine, which is I have one objective or something, an expectation, which will not be eventually accomplished if the technology is not ready yet. So starting with the dreams, yeah, what are my expectations? I might have much more expectations open than the technology can provide. So that's why eventually some people might think, let's start with what is available, because we have eventually the budget to develop it on our own. So I think these two things can go in parallel as well, but it depends if you have the budget or not to further accomplish your expectations. And but at the end, I decided for the one that you also selected. So it might be one of the reasons the people why selected that. Just sharing my thoughts.
Okay. Thank you.
And I also agree with Javier's opinion. I also thought that these two steps could be done like in parallel, but of course both of them should be taken into account before coming to a decision.
Okay, thank you. Stefan, you want to say something?
Yeah, if you look at the functional analysis of ActiveH, you have a lot of functionalities that could be fulfilled. It's a very long list, and it's true that it's sometimes difficult to make it technically to get it into practice, and perhaps that's the reason that you first look to technology and then say, okay, that offers a solution for these functionalities, and that's what I can offer, and not the inverse to start from the functionalities which can go very broad.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I think is there someone who wants to say something, ask something? Otherwise, we close the meeting. Thank you very much for your participation. I'm really appreciate it, and we will also check on the privacy issues, and because we also developing guidelines for open platforms, and data management is one of the main issues in that sense. So it's really, yeah, we must take care of that. It is really assured. Alexander, do you want to say something?
Nothing from my side. I just would like to thank one more time for the participation in this webinar, and to invite the participants to register for our next webinar, which will be the actual matchmaking event. It will be really interesting and informative and beneficial for all parties which will register there. So we're looking forward to hear and see your pitches, pitch presentations in January next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again. Bye-bye.
Yeah.